Hey guys, it's Nathalie. Thank you so much. Hey, listen, this week I passed 5,000 subscribers. Yay! Thank you guys so much. I have been busy. My sewing room looks like a bomb has gone off in here. There is fabric everywhere. I have worked on some hats that I'm going to put in my Etsy store. I've got some hats that I'm sending to some more nurse friends. And I have made just a real quick little clip of some points that I need to show you on using the pattern. So this is not going to be really a tutorial, but just kind of some cleanup thing. I've had lots of comments, and I'm working on a couple of more patterns that I'll have ready to release the first of next week, and some written instructions because several of you have asked for those too. So the main thing I want to tell you is use 100% cotton. Wash it in hot water before you start. Wash it and press it. I think I said that in the video, but I just wanted to do that. And now we're going to go to the video for me to show you some other little tips and tricks that I've come up with in the meantime, and answer some of the questions that I have had come through on my emails and my comments and my feedback. On my website, you have to subscribe to my website to get the free pattern. I'm glad to give it to you, but I want a little something in return, and that's your email address. I am not going to spam you or flood your inbox. I haven't even sent out a newsletter in probably 9 months. Anyway, so you can go into my library, subscribe, myhallcloset.com/library. Subscribe, you'll get a confirmation email with a thank you and your password. You go back into the library and go to the free goodie part and put in your password, and you can download this pattern. And so when you download this pattern, you're going to actually print this to full size, the actual size. It's a PDF, and so it'll ask you, do you want it fit to page or full size? You're going to do it full size. There's a there's a 1-inch square that's on here that you can print this off and make sure that this is 1 inch so that you can know that this is scaled to size. Alright, so you're going to cut this out and cut this one out, and you're going to tape these two edges together. See these little marks right here in this one? Tape that bold edge to bold edge, and it's going to look like this without all the markings, okay? So there's the little marks right there. You're going to tape that together. This actually, I didn't do this exactly right. This needs to be 1.25 inches. If you're going to turn under the edge of that, you'll fold it back 1.25 inches and then turn under the edge. If you want to just serge it, you can actually do it to like a 1 inch and then serge it, because that's what I've allowed is, you know, either or. So, and that's on the instructions that are on the pattern whenever you download that. All right, so another thing I want to show you. When you have your fabric has a straight grain. That's the selvage edge. That's like from the factory, and there's hardly any stretch in the selvage edge. The cross grain, which is like going from the factory edge to the factory edge, has some stretch to it. That's what I like to cut the headband part, this main body, on the cross grain, so you have a little bit of stretch in that fabric when it's fitting around your head, and also shaping the crown in. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to do, can't remember if I showed it in the video or not, is mark the center. You can do a little clip, don't do it very big, just a little nip, and the center of this piece. And you can find the center. You can just fold it to find it, or you can mark it from whenever you cut the pattern piece, okay? And the same thing, I make a little nip, and then you'll match these two little corners together, the two little notches together. Alright, I'm going to lay that on the white so that you can see that better. So put those two little notches together, put a pin there, and then I put a pin down in this corner, down here in this, and there's a dot on your pattern. There's a little dot. Put a little pin right there. That's where I start the stitching, and you can just kind of ease this around, pull this just a little bit, and it'll ease on around into that shape, okay? Or you can just pin it around. But this will work good. Now the other thing I'm going to tell you is, let me finish up this before I go to another thought. So you can mark your buttonhole like I showed you in the first video. This is the little area that's where the button is going to go if you put that on for their mask. So I did me kind of a cheater thing. It's not in the pattern, but you can do this. I made me this piece that's 7 inches by 2 3/4. And so what this does, this goes onto the finished edge because the button is the last thing that I do. So I put this in place and I mark this little corner to put my button. Okay, so that's just this was easier for me than marking all of these patterns like I did in the original video. Anyway, just a little time saver there. Alright, I made a cheater also for my buttonholes. And so, I mean, I can pin through and mark it like that. But let me show you, because I like it the easy way. So I just took a piece of cardstock, marked it, measured it, cut it, and then I marked this with a Sharpie. Doesn't have to be a Sharpie, but there's my buttonholes. And I put the front, marked the front. And so now, and I've already serged my edge. If that's how I'm finishing mine. And even if you're turning it under, this is still the right measurement. So mark my buttonhole. I've got a little, this is a water-soluble pencil. You could use a crayon, a piece of chalk, depending on your fabric, you know, a water-soluble marker, water-erasable marker. So mark it right here. Oops, that's my front. Turn it over. So front is right here on this edge. I need to mark that on my back side so that I'll remember that. Line that up. Probably need something a little darker. I'm just going to put 2 red dots on this one. And that'll get stitched in. Probably don't want to use a Sharpie. You don't always have to do what I do. Okay, I want to show you about cutting multiples. Now I'm going to do this with a solid color, and then I've got this piece that I don't have enough of it to make a scrub cap out of, but I have enough to do a little kind of a decorative piece and the crown piece. So I want to show you about that. So this is what I need. I've folded this edge to edge. I mean, here's my selvage edge, here's my selvage edge. I'm on the cross grain, and this is how wide this needs to be. So in cutting a multiple, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this over like this. Make sure that I'm straight and that my fabric is straight underneath. Pull this up a little bit. I just washed this. You're going to want to wash it in hot water and dry it. Let me get this straightened out. Here we go. So I've got this straight edge right here. And I'm going to cut back into this. Now, one of the things that I did not do on the other video, but that I want to tell you about, because I don't think I'm going to stitch in this video, I think I'm just going to give you some shortcuts, is after you have put the crown piece on, the little back piece on in here, in my first video, I started my stitching this way, but if you'll start your stitching and come from here up and then stop right in that, it makes it easier to match this corner, and it just stitches a little bit easier. So now I've got this area is folded right here. I'm going to just cut that down the middle. And then I have, that gives me with one cut, then I have 2 of the long main pieces of this pattern. Alright, so now to cut the little something to give it a little extra, little fun part. And let me see, this is too narrow right here. And I want to make sure I have enough for the crown piece. So I'm going to fold this right in here. I'll square this up. All right, let's see. So I've got, this is like 14 inches, about 9.5. This seems to be a nice straight edge. This is pretty reasonably straight. So I'm going to cut this same width. And this width is, let me see, 7 inches. So let's do that. Let me get my ruler. It's hard to find, and I'll show you why it's hard to find. Because it's clear. So I want to cut this at 7 inches. I'm going to use my rotary cutter. Again, find the middle. And I didn't nip this one, so let me nip this middle. And I'm going to nip that middle. And this one is not, well, of course this is the same one side or the other. It doesn't have a right or a wrong side. And so I'm going to take this notch and match it to this notch. And then I'll turn this under and stitch here, and turn under and stitch here. And then that'll give me a pretty little section across the top of the head. Then this is my front edge. That'll be turned under and stitched like that. And then the crown part will go back, the back part will go here. Hey, I just want to say thank you so much to y'all for subscribing, for liking, and for sharing, and for putting me over the 5,000 mark. I know in the YouTube world that's not viral, but in my world, it's pretty exciting, and I've just been so blessed to be able to share my talents and my skills with y'all during that time. This time for you to be able to bless others who are serving on the front lines. I just wanted to say thank you. God bless you. Stay safe. Stay well. And I'll see you next time. Bye.